All right, let's start on the Mage cards. There's definitely some interesting ones here. The first card is the legendary Minion, 9 mana, 3/3, Dragon Caller Alana. Battlecry, summon a 5/5 dragon for each spell you cast this game that costs 5 or more. On paper, this seems kind of bad. Like, you read it and it's like, what's it, 9 mana, 3/3? So what? But this obviously has to go in a big spell mage, which I think is probably going to exist. I think it actually has the potential to be a good deck. And then a board full of 5/5s, especially dragons, is no joke. Priest Dragonfire Potion doesn't do anything. You have to watch out for Psychic Scream. Spoiler. But I think this card has a ton of value, even though it's 9 mana. And if you're playing a big spell mage, it's kind of a slower deck anyway, so you might be able to get away with it. I think it's good. It's expensive, but it has great value. You have to kind of treat it like an Azoth or something like that. Something like this. It's a huge board turn. For that reason, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I think it's good. I think you'll definitely see some play if Big Mage can be a thing. I think it will be. That's why I rated it so highly. Alright. The next card is the legendary weapon for Mage. It's a 6 mana, 0 attack, 3 durability. At the end of your turn, draw 3 cards. It's called a Luneth. From what I've read online, the drawing 3 cards doesn't affect the durability. It just has 3 durability and it stays that way. So you just draw 3 cards at the end of every turn. This card I'm really not convinced on. It's not going to go in a control mage because you're just going to end up fatiguing yourself to death. So it needs to kind of go in an aggro burn mage. And I think this is too slow for that deck. Like, are you really going to play this on 6 when your opponent is going to play Bone Mare next turn? You probably just lose the game. I think it's just way, way too expensive and too slow. And for that reason, I gave it a 1 star. I don't think it's very good. I won't be happy if I open this. Alright, the next card is a 5 mana spell. It's called a Deck of Wonders. It's shuffle 5 scrolls into your deck. When drawn, cast a random spell. Now, the random spell isn't just a mage spell. It can be any spell. So it's like shuffling 5 completely random spells that cast immediately when you draw them. It's a super fun card. It was on the reveal stream. It's a meme card, and for that reason I'm giving it a 2, because it sounds like a fun meme casino mage kind of card, but it's too slow. I mean, you could play this and never get any value out of it, which is kind of sad. But it's a fun card, so for that reason it's a 2. Alright, next card is another 5 mana spell called Dragon's Fury. Reveal a spell from your deck, deal damage equal to its cost to all minions. This card seems insane in Big Mage, in Big Spell Mage, that is. I think if Big Spell Mage becomes a thing, this card is in every single one. It's just such a good board clear. You can get like a 7 mana Flame Strike on the reveal and just clear pretty much any board that exists. So I think it's definitely in Big Spell Mage. I'm not sure it has too much application outside of that, but I think it's still pretty good. And for that reason, I gave it a 4. Alright. The next card is a Minion, a 4 mana, 4/5 elemental line manipulator? Is that how you say it? Line manipulator. It's Battlecry. If you're holding any cards that didn't start in your deck, reduce their cost by 2. It seems very powerful on first read in a Quest Mage type of kind of deck. You can actually pull off the Infinite Fireball combo with this card without running the quest, which is pretty cool. It's pretty complicated to pull that combo off. I think it's just such a value card and like a Discover Mage that I think it's worth running. And for that reason, I gave it a 4. There's just so many cool combos. That might be an optimistic rating at 4, but I think it's very good. Alright, next card is a 3 mana Secret for Mage, Explosive Ruins. Secret, after your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it and any excess to their hero. People are kind of on the fence about this one from what I've seen. I think it's incredibly good in Tempo Mage, where you want to burn down your opponent as quick as possible, because generally they're going to play around Mirror Entity, where they play a small minion, so most of the damage is going to go to their face, which is actually what you want. You want the damage to go to face. It's like an extra fireball. If they play like a flame elemental or something, dealing 5 damage to the face for 3 is pretty legitimate. So I think it will be run in Tempo Mage, or Secret Mage, whatever you want to call it. And for that reason, I gave it a 4. I think it's pretty solid. Alright, the next card is the Spellstone for Mage. Lesser Ruby Spellstone, 2 mana, add 1 random mage spell to your hand, play 2 elementals to upgrade. So let's look at the upgrades. Becomes 2 mage spells or 3 mage spells if you get it all the way upgraded. Alright. I don't think it's that great. I don't think it's necessary. It seems pretty slow. The upgrade requirement is pretty hefty. I'm just not that impressed with it, and because of that, I just gave it a 3. I think the requirement's kind of difficult, and the reward isn't good enough. I mean, it could definitely see play in like an elemental quest mage, but I don't know. I don't think that's better than regular quest mage. So I'm gonna give it a 3. Alright, the next card is a 2-mana minion for Mage. It's a beast as well, for some reason. It's Raven Familiar. Battlecry, reveal a spell on each deck. If yours costs more, draw it. So this is very similar to a King's Elic for Mage. If you're playing Big Spell Mage, I think you definitely run this card, because it's probably an automatic card draw, unless you're playing against like Druid and their UI shows up or something. But I think it's definitely has the likelihood of drawing you a card, so I think it could see play for sure. Especially if, like, you know, a lot of people are playing Arcanologist on 2, and if you're playing like a big spell mage, I'm not sure you're going to run Secrets, so this might replace Arcanologist in kind of like a big spell mage. So I think it's pretty good. For that reason, I gave it a 4, because I'm still optimistic that big spell mage will be a thing. Alright, the next card is a 1-mana 1/2 elemental arcane artificer? Sure. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to its cost. It just doesn't seem necessary right off the bat to me. I mean, it's obviously a good card if you're playing like the Ruby Spellstone, but again, I don't think you need this card in any deck. It just doesn't seem... As long as you have Ice Block still, I don't think you need the armor. It's just not that relevant. You have the potential to gain a lot of armor, but I don't think you need it. I just don't think it's good enough. I gave it a 2. It just doesn't seem great. Alright, the last card in Mage doesn't have a mana cost. It's the first collectible card that doesn't have a mana cost, which is pretty cool. It's called Shifting Scroll. Each turn this is in your hand, transform it into a random mage spell. So it's a little bit like Babbling Book, where you just get a random spell, but you can pick when you want to play it. You don't get any reduction like Glyph, so I think it's a fun card, like maybe in like a quest mage or a casino mage, but probably not seen anywhere else. I think it's just an okay card. It's not overpowered, it's not underpowered, it's just okay. It's the Shifter Xeris of spells for Mage, and for that reason I gave it a 3. So, looking back on Mage, there's some pretty solid cards. I think the Legendary Minion's pretty good. I think the weapon is pretty bad. I think the 4-mana 4/5 Elemental is very good. I think the Raven Familiar is definitely going to have its spot in Big Spell Mage. And then Dragon's Fury will also have its spot in Big Spell Mage. And Explosive Ruins, I think, is a good Tempo Mage card. So there's a pretty good mixture for Mage of cards. I'm pretty happy with the Mage cards. There's definitely some cool combos with the 4/5 I'm going to look forward to playing. So that's the Mage review. Thanks, guys. I'm going to move on to the next class.